class, we'll mainly discuss on EWM, and EWM stands for Extended Warehouse Management. Extended Warehouse Management. What is warehouse here? In whole 3 months, we'll be discussing on the warehouse part only. Warehouse. Once you complete the course, the work will be like you are a EWM consultant. What is EWM consultant first of all? What is warehouse management consultant? What exactly the work we will be doing? For that, first of all, we would like to discuss some basics, okay? We will not go to SAP today itself. We'll go through some basics of warehouse management. In today's class, we'll be discussing what exactly the overview of your module, your work, your responsibilities. We'll not go into each and every concept, but we'll go through overview of warehouse management. For that, we should discuss about the warehouse. What is warehouse first of all? Warehouse is something like a physical location where we will store the products. Warehouse is nothing but what? It's a physical location where you will store the products. What do you mean by products here? So it's like a new naming conversion you will be hearing from now. So if you are feeling something like, the namings, if you're not able to understand, you can raise a question, okay? In the middle of the class, you can raise a question that you have some queries on this part. What is product first of all? Product is nothing but a material. If you're working on different modules, normally you will be calling it as material, right? Each and every part that we deal, that we will call it as material, because we can't remember the names of the material. So as a consultant, we will call everything as a material only. But when it comes to EWM or warehouse management, we will call it as a product. We will call it as a product. Okay, both are same, okay, but when it comes to EWM, the warehouse, we will call it as a product. Physical location where you will store the products. So I hope everyone knows warehouse, right? In your language, I can tell it as a go down. I can show you. So this is very basics for you. So I am showing everything, okay, end to end, and try to learn the basics properly. If you know the basics properly, then it's very easy for you to learn a lot of things. So let me show you first of all warehouse types. Can you please go on? So this one you can see. Can you please go on mute, guys? Someone, Harsha. This is the warehouse outside. If you see, this is similar to your godowns, guys. In your area, there are some godowns will be there where they'll store some kind of vegetables. Normally, if you see the godowns, if you are from remote area, we'll call it as a godown. But when it comes to the heavy companies where they will operate some kind of production, some kind of storage, the warehouse is some kind of a large area. But when it comes to the godown is like, a small area. But the activities will takes place are same. The warehouse activities that takes place are same. If you see here, this is the warehouse outside. The entire operations, the entire work of SAP EWM consultant stays here. We need to know the behavior of each and every place, each and every location, what exactly you are able to see in this picture. You should have idea. What is this place? And if you go bit deep of this one, this is the warehouse. These are the doors. What is the use of doors? What is the use of doors? First, understand the outside of the warehouse. Then we'll go inside of the warehouse. So outside of the warehouse, you can see the doors here. The warehouse doors. What is the use of doors? In your language, tell me what is the use of doors, warehouse doors? Anyone? What is the use of doors? Why do we have these many doors? I don't want exact answer, but if you try to answer, that would be great.
For the goods.
For the goods, what exactly for the goods means?
For loading and unloading, sir.
For loading and unloading. So in your language, I can tell you that for receiving the goods and supplying the goods. Receiving the goods and supplying the goods. Okay, I'll tell in very simple language as this is first class. So hope everyone knows about the more supermarket, right? More Reliance Trends or any kind of Metro wholesale. I think everyone knows that, right? Metro wholesale. The best example is Metro wholesale, okay, which I'll tell to every person who is learning EWM. I will tell them to visit Metro wholesale. I think it is there everywhere, okay? Hyderabad, Bangalore, most of the places Metro wholesale is there everywhere. So when you are learning SAP EWM, mainly you can visit Metro wholesale at least weekly once or twice a week. Twice a week visit the Metro wholesale and try to observe lot of things, what is there inside and what is there outside. Let me show you. So this is the Metro wholesale one. We have the big picture. Sorry. Sorry guys. Siddharth, any doubt? Guys, please go on mute if you are not speaking. So when you're not speaking, please go on mute, okay? So it will be disturbance for everyone, okay? They will lose the track. So you can see the Metro wholesale here, okay? So when you see the Metro wholesale, can you see here? Doors. There are doors outside of the Metro wholesale. What is the use of Metro wholesale? What exactly the work the Metro wholesale will do? The Metro wholesale, they will receive n number of materials. In your language, n number of materials. It can be vegetables, it can be any kind of other clothing, it can be electronics, it can be anything, okay? We will collect as a material or product. Okay. Now, the Metro wholesale work is like to receive the materials. To receive the materials. And once they receive the materials, they need to place the products, they need to store the products inside of the warehouse. In the respective places, they need to store it. Let me show you. Their work is to store the products. Okay, you can see here there are n number of products that was placed inside the warehouse in the respective locations. N number of products that was stored in the respective locations. Once they receive the materials inside the warehouse, they need to store in the respective places. What do you mean by respective places? What do you mean by respective places? So I'm receiving some electronics. Can I store electronics here? Example, if I'm receiving some frozen goods, some kind of meat, some kind of other frozen goods I'm receiving, ice cream kind of things. Can I store outside of this one? Can I store outside here? The location where you can see the outside, you can store here the ice creams or any kind of all frozen goods. Can I store it here? No, I cannot store it here. I need to store in the frozen area. If you have already went to the More or Reliance Trends, very similar one, you can see all frozen goods in some kind of refrigerator, right? And electronics into different location. Electronics you cannot find here. In vegetables area you can find only vegetables. In clothing you can find only clothing. Okay, and any other materials, group of materials that belongs to same category, will group it together into one location, one place. Means we are deciding the location where exactly the product can be stored. If I receive some frozen goods, the frozen goods should go and store in the refrigerator. If I receive vegetables, the vegetables location should be stored in the vegetable location. Electronics into electronic location. For example, you have done some mistake. Okay, user has done some mistake. Okay, user is not checking what product that is. Once they receive the product, user some kind of ice cream he received. The product is ice cream. He received the product of ice cream. He placed the ice cream in the vegetable area. Is that right? No. Now you are asking the user, why did you store the ice cream in vegetable area? She will tell that system has guided me to store it here. He don't know anything, right? The user don't know anything. His work is like wherever the system is showing the product to be placed, he will store the product. When you ask him, he will tell that system guided me to keep the product in this location. Instead of storing in the refrigerator, it is telling to store it here because the product characteristics are missing. Each and every product will be having character. Okay, means respective temperature, respective this thing. We need to set up first of all on a product level. And once you receive the product should go to exact area. Means what? Physically you are arranging the products. That is called as warehouse. Physically you are arranging the products in the respective location. Where exactly you need to store the product? System should guide it. System should guide where exactly that needs to be placed. That setup as a consultant we are doing it. As a consultant we are doing it. Physically you are storing the product in the exact location as per the product character. Now the other part, you receive the product. What is the next stage? Customer will come, right? Customer will come and customer will take the goods. Customer will take the goods. If in case, if you go to godowns, if you go to the big godowns or if you go to heavy warehouses, you will not be having option to go inside. At least in metro wholesale, you have option to go inside and take the goods whatever you want and you go to the billing counter, right? And for now, you can take this example actually. Once you receive the goods from the vendor, and after that, you will take the goods, whatever that is required, and you will go to the billing counter and you will pay it. And it means they are selling the goods. They are receiving the goods and they are selling the goods to the customer. and where exactly they need to pick the goods. If you're selling the goods, it means that what? The customer has taken the products, and once he pays the bill, means that product is owned by the customer, not by the warehouse. Right? Once you receive the product to the warehouse, the product belongs to the warehouse. The ownership lies with respect to warehouse. But once the customer buys it, the ownership will lies with the user. Means what? The warehouse is having capability to receive and ship the goods. The warehouse is having capability to receive the goods from the vendor. Who is the vendor, guys? Supplier. From supplier, he will receive the goods and he will ship the goods to the customer. In and out. In and out. So warehouse is having capability to receive the goods and supply the goods. Got it, guys? The meaning of the warehouse is what? Organizing the products in a physical location. That is called as warehouse. Any questions here? On the warehouse part, what is warehouse? Now you understand little bit of warehouse, right? What exactly the warehouse? What do you mean by the warehouse? I will go in deep of the warehouse, but as of now we are discussing about the what is warehouse first of all. Any queries in this part?
Nora.
Okay. So we are discussing mainly on SAP EWM. Okay. We will discuss majority 95% of the classes we will discuss on SAP EWM, and 5% there are some requirement to discuss on SAP MM. Yes, that we will discuss. Okay, MM part. That 5%. Okay, nothing much. Don't worry. We know about EWM. Okay, priorly. Okay, previously we don't have EWM concept. First of all, we have WM concept. Hope everyone knows that. EWM is, today it was demand is too high and everyone knows about EWM. But previous to EWM, we have only WM, that is called warehouse management. That is called warehouse management. Now SAP came up with new ideas, new concepts, new things, and they maintain it as they invented SAP EWM concept. EWM is what? Extended warehouse management. What do you mean by extended here, guys? What do you mean by extended? The difference is only extended, nothing much. Extended. Extended means simply we can tell that SAP has stopped giving new versions in warehouse management. SAP has stopped giving new versions in warehouse management. So let me tell you the concept of versions. So SAP always works on the gaps. Suppose if some companies are using warehouse management, SAP will provide by default all the requirements of the software, and we know that 100% requirements no one can provide. 100% of the requirements of the software no one can provide. So what they will be doing? So they will be working on the gaps, and every 6 months or every 7 months they will try to release a new version. They will try to release a version. In that version, they wanted to cover that missing gaps. They want to develop by standard. They want to cover the missing gaps and they want to release the versions. In that versions, they have the capability to manage that gap. Whatever the gap they found out in the industry or the company, SAP will be trying to cover the gap. For that, SAP will have some meetings. Every quarterly, SAP will be having meetings with the every company high level persons or every company some kind of knowledgeable EWM consultants or any MM consultants to understand the gaps. Normally, you can go and you can join the meeting and you can tell your idea to SAP. It's like normal meeting, and they will listen to your idea. And if it is good, and if it is like worth, if it is like worth to maintain that gap into standard, what they'll be doing, they'll be working. They'll take your requirement, and in the next 6 months they'll work on your requirement, and they will release that new requirement in the new version. So what exactly SAP is doing? Exactly, SAP has stopped giving new versions into WM, warehouse management, because SAP is encouraging EWM, extended warehouse management. In this, there are a lot of capabilities. I will tell you what all capabilities SAP EWM can do. So SAP is releasing new versions in EWM. SAP is releasing new versions in EWM. Now I think every 11 months we are getting a new version. Okay, every 11 months we are getting new versions. In that new versions, all the gaps they are filling it. They are filling it all the gaps. So every company who are using WM, maybe in the future, they need to move to EWM. They need to move to EWM. Okay, that is the reason you can see most of the companies they are recruiting EWM consultants. Okay, there is no market for any other module in SAP. Currently, there is no market for any other module in SAP. Any location you can take, but only EWM is having the demand. The market is there for only for EWM, because there are not many people are there in EWM. There are a lot of people in MM. First of all, MM. If you apply for one position, if one position was open, you can see at least 500 to 1,000 people applying for MM position. But for EWM, it's quite reverse. The one thing is like, why many people are not coming to EWM? As per my experience, EWM is quite interesting module, and also some kind of complicated module. Complicated means in terms of understanding. In terms of understanding the subject, it's a complicated module, but once you understand it, it's very easy to use the module. Okay, I mean to say you can use it very easily compared to other modules. It is very easy, to be frank, but this needs to be learned very properly. EWM is like that is the reason whoever is learning, if they keep 100% efforts, they need to move as a EWM consultant. The only one advantage it is having, EWM, if you learn properly, no need to give the 100% of your interview. Okay, I'll guarantee you that just if you perform 50%, the job is in your hand. And no need to go as experienced person in EWM. If you go as a fresher, it's acceptable. If you have 10 years of experience into SAP MM, and if you go to a new interview and you mention like I have 10 years of experience into MM and I learned EWM and I know perfectly all the concepts, they'll give you the opportunity. But no other module they'll give the opportunity. EWM, now we have opportunity. Everyone is having opportunity. If they learn properly, they can go and join. Even freshers, they can learn properly and they can join as a EWM consultant. As in many people, freshers learning properly, and they are going for SAP EWM. And SAP EWM is an independent module, guys. SAP EWM is an independent module. Independent means It is not dependent on any module. It is not dependent on any module, and you need to learn other modules before coming to EWM. SAP EWM is independent, and without prior experience to SAP also, you are good to come into SAP EWM and you can work on EWM. There is no need of experience in WM first of all. There is no need of experience into WM or MM or anything. SAP EWM is like a quite independent module. Anyone can come. Especially it's good for freshers, and if you wanted to move from different domain to SAP, EWM is the best module to encourage. Other modules no one will encourage. No one will give you the opportunity. But SAP EWM, they'll give you the some kind of chances if you know the subject properly. They will train you, but they will not train you on EWM basics. They will train you on the business process. Every company they will train you on the business process at least for 1 or 2 weeks, but no one will train you on EWM basics. So this will take at least 3 months, and you need to practice at least for 2 months so that you can get a job into EWM and you can survive. You can survive for next 10 years, 15 years if you know EWM. Okay. And like SAP is normally we'll cut as ERP. What is ERP, guys? It's a basic thing. I think everyone knows that. ERP is what? Enterprise Resource Planning. Enterprise Resource Planning. So why we have too much of demand for SAP? Why do we have too much of demand for SAP? ERP is software, and SAP also is ERP. There are a lot of ERPs in the market. Oracle, Ariba. Okay, there are a lot of tools, lot of ERPs in the market. SAP is one of the ERP, most demanded ERP tool. And do you know why? Why SAP is the demanded ERP? Instead of having high cost, license cost is too high compared to other tools. But most of the companies, 95% of the companies, they are using SAP is their major tool. Even though it is having high cost, high implementation cost, high license cost, water rollout cost is high, AMS cost is high, everything is costly in SAP. But it is having some kind of 95% market share in today's world. Why? What are the advantages? Why SAP is having that kind of market compared to other ERPs? This is for basic people like whoever trying to learn from very very basics level, that I wanted to tell this one. Enterprise resource planning. Planning. What is planning, guys? Suppose take any industry. That industry, if they want to survive in market, they need to have some kind of sales. If they don't have profit, they will not use these costly tools, right? Main profits comes under sales. Any company profits will come from sales. How sales will be done? What kind of products they will do sales? They will do their own production, their own materials, they will do the sales.